What is up, guys? This is Azam with Investify. Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. And I just want to start updating you guys for the upcoming week for investing. There's a few things we need to touch base on. We need to see what's happening with the S&P 500, what's the stock market doing. We want to look at currencies, and we will need to look at crypto. So let's get to it. All right, so first thing that we want to do is that we want to look at the S&P 500. What's happening with it? Now here we are on the weekly chart. So each candlestick here represents an entire week's of trading. And as we can see, the all-time high that the S&P 500 reached was on January 22nd of this year, which was 286.63 basically. Okay. And we saw last week it got to 286.01. And as we can see, it's still in an uptrend, but this is very important. What we can see is that this is the resistance level. The 286.63 is the highest ever the S&P 500 has been. And we're seeing that it's starting to drop, and mainly because on Friday, this is what happened. It dropped by 0.7%. So that's a relatively big drop. Let me take a look at the daily chart right here. So that's a big drop. And we can see the RSI as well giving us a double top right here. So this is something that we should look into because the all-time high is something that it didn't break out from. It just starts to drop, and it's dropping to its moving average levels of 20 moving average and so on. What does this mean for us? We see that in the drop, right? This is on the daily chart. We see that the drop happens, okay? And we also see that for that day, the volume was a lot. So that means there's a lot more selling pressure that's coming in. Is this something that could be institutional selling pressure? Absolutely. This could be hedge funds that are understanding that, listen, there's a drop coming into the markets, right? So a lot of these funds and banks are now starting to position maybe for a short, that perhaps there needs to be a bigger drop. And I believe that this can drop into the 269, 270 range right here. If we look at it. So we're going to be monitoring tomorrow how the market opens, and if it drops below Friday's low, which is 280, 282, we might be looking to close several of our positions, or even because if we look at it here, we have like this cross, and yeah, we're setting up for a big short that could be coming in, dropping all the way to the 260s, and there could be even a bigger drop all the way in the region of 248. So you want to be able to protect your money. So that's one thing that we're looking at from the S&P 500 as of right now. Now let's look at the dollar index, right? If we can get the dollar index here. The dollar is breaking out. The dollar is strengthening. So if someone is looking for vacation, this is a great time. The dollar is definitely strengthening, and there's a potential for it. Another thing that we want to look at is the gold index. What's happening with gold? Now gold is at this support level right here. So if you're looking for a good hedge at this point, gold could be a good hedge. Another thing that I want to look at is the short for SNPY, but SPY, and I cannot find it right now. But let's look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and same thing, that we're seeing that I believe that we may see a longer term short happen if it drops below 233.6, but or 233.4. Okay. So something to watch out for. I think there's still a short coming in, and this can drop all the way to the 219, 210 ranges. It's quite possible. So we're starting to see weakness in the market now. So some things to look at. Now let's take a look at currencies here. The Australian dollar versus the US dollar. This is on the Let's look at the monthly chart. On the monthly chart, we're seeing definitely a downtrend. That means the dollar has been strengthening, and we just saw that the dollar is getting stronger. Now it's in this region on a monthly chart where it's close to its support levels. So let's see what's happening on the weekly. There's a drop. It's broke out of this base. So I think there could be a shorting opportunity here if any of you are looking. But again, there is a support here. I think that it's going to continue breaking through this, and it might go all the way to 0.71 range. So you could make possibly a few hundred pips in return on Australian dollar. Let's look at the Euro USD. Same thing. We're seeing that the dollar is just so much more stronger than everything else. And here, let me just try to see what I can do here. Yes. And I think that it'll drop another couple of hundred pips. It can drop to 1.112 from the 1.14 it is. So there are selling opportunities, like shorting opportunities here. Let's look at the pound dollar. I would assume the same thing. Yep. Since pound is even more weaker right now compared to the US dollar, we may anticipate it to drop even more into the 1.245 range. So another opportunity here. And let's look at dollar CAD, because this can be interesting for us. This is where it's starting to look very interesting, that the Canadian dollar is strengthening. And usually when that happens, that means also simultaneously that hold on. So if the Canadian dollar is getting stronger versus everything else versus the US dollar, then that means that oil is also coming up. Something to look into is that you can hedge your positions right now with oil as a commodity to invest in. So that's what I wanted to take a look at from the currencies point of view. Let's take a look at crypto. What's happening in crypto? We've seen severe downtrend, and everyone's been hurting. And let's take a look at it from the dollar perspective, right? So let's look at our big ones. Bitcoin is at 62.90. It's been dropping and it's near its support levels here, okay? So it could be a buying opportunity, and you can put your stop at around 57.50. I think it's a very strong support level, and that's something, but it may drop and go all the way to the 2000s. The way it's looking right now, that it's breaking through the moving averages on the weekly basis. So what we'll have to keep an eye for is if it drops below 59.70, we may see it go all the way down and into the 4,000 range. So something to watch out for, guys. The other one is Ethereum, and Ethereum's been dropping quite a bit, and I think it's gonna drop into its 150 ranges. It's been breaking out, so something to look out for there. We're seeing increase in volume of selling pressure. And let's take a look at Ripple right here, which is at 30 cents. It's just dropping, it's crashing. So what's happening in the crypto market is that we're definitely seeing weakness come into the market, but at the same time, I believe that it creates an opportunity for people that are looking to hedge against the stock market. I still believe that, and there's still opportunities. And the one thing is, like several of the investments you will ever make, crypto is similar to stocks, where it's going to be a long-term play. We're seeing that Litecoin was at 366 and now it's dropping to 55. So that's just a huge drop. So it's creating a long-term opportunity for you guys, because a lot of these are already platforms that are being used. There are several jobs that are out there that are using Ethereum as a platform, and startups are using that. So there is a opportunity for growth in the long run, and something to look out for. All right, guys, that's all I wanted to discuss with you guys. There's one stock that I think we should look at is Conduent. I think that this is an industrial stock that's breaking out, that may have good opportunities for buy. It's around $20 a share, and you can put your stop loss around 15. And I think it can really give a lot of value over long run. It's breaking out, pretty solid company in terms of financials, and they're a $4.2 billion market cap. So there's huge potential for them to grow. So something to look into. Anyways, this was the update that I wanted to give you guys for the upcoming week. We will be